Every week, hundreds of new mobile games release. Most of them disappear as quickly just as they arrive, but every now and then a few of them actually stay. Hello friends, welcome back, this is Mobile. Today we're checking out over 25 new mobile games of July you probably need to at least know about. So first of all, Sea of Remnant is finally here. Well, at least if you're in China. The game is now officially live on Android and iOS, and to tell you the truth, it looks every bit as stylish as those early trailers actually promised. So Sea of Remnants, for those of you who missed it, is a pirate RPG with a pretty amazing hand-drawn art style with some real naval combat stuff, turn-based fights on land, over 400 different companions to recruit, factions that actually shape the world around you. It definitely feels like NetEase has actually outdone itself for once. If you don't mind grabbing it through the Chinese stores or TapTap, this is easily one of the biggest RPG releases of the year and absolutely worth keeping an eye out in the global version. Coming up behind that at number 2, we've got Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. It's sort of a love letter to classic JRPGs like Skies of Arcadia. Depending on the player, it does actually stand out. It's a classic story RPG, you build a crew of these pirates, explore different kingdoms in the sky, the airship you've got, and engage in turn-based fights, a little different from the usual RPG actually. The Ghibli art style doesn't hurt it, in fact it's quite nice. It's a little slower, kind of a story-driven adventure with plenty of exploration and character moments, making it pretty good in fact for anyone who misses the golden age of JRPGs. Kings Do Not Fall at number 3 actually feels like it sort of came out straight out of the Super Nintendo era in like the best way actually possible. It's an old school side-scrolling beat-em-up. We've got great combos, boss fights, modern elements to keep things fresh as well. Between stages you can spend your gold on a better gear, weapon maybe, giving the combat a little more depth. In fact, the coolest part is that it's made by one of the developers behind the Legend of Iron Commando. So it does really feel like a love letter to brawlers as well. It's a free game, about 600 megabytes in total. Going down to number 4, we've got Astera. In fact, Astera is coming from the developers of Eternium, and you know Eternium, it's a great game, one of the oldest in the genre, and it already looks one of the more promising mobile RPGs that has been released this year. Instead of locking you into a class, just one class, it lets you mix 2 classes together, opening some sort of door to all kinds of crazy builds and playstyles. In fact, combat's pretty fast, dungeons are procedurally generated with roguelike mechanics, the open world has plenty of reasons to explore beyond the main story, you can tackle everything solo or in co-op with a friend, however you want. If you're looking for a fresh MMORPG with a little more depth than usual, give it a try. Ariana and the Elder Codex is the kind of platformer that reminds you why folks are in love with platform RPGs or grew in love with them in the first place. Like, it doesn't rely on tricks or gimmicks. Instead, it focuses on some tight combat, some good hand-drawn visuals, a progression stuff. It has that old school one more area before I quit feeling where every corner hides another upgrade or challenge. Honestly, if you've got Crunchyroll membership, this feels less like another subscription bonus and more like finding a forgotten gem you somehow missed for years. Bullet Survivor is another one of those games that sort of proves the survival genre, still has a lot of tricks left in the tank. So it looks familiar at first, it's a free game by the way, but the boss fights are where things get really interesting. Like, instead of just dumping a giant health bar on the screen and throwing to the same enemy, these sort of mutated virus monsters literally fall apart in the middle of battle while you blast them, making every fight feel a little more dynamic. So it's not trying to reinvent the Vampire Survivors, but for a free 200 megabytes download, it's a surprisingly easy game to lose at least an evening to. Auto Legends is one of those little racing games we get once in a while that kind of turns out very surprising. The idea is in fact pretty simple, it's drag racing with actual stakes. Top of that though, it's actually a pretty good looking mobile game. You've got licensed cars like Honda, Ford, Pagani, plus plenty of tuning and customization, but the hook is a pink slip. That is, you win and you take your opponent's car, you lose, kiss yours goodbye. That makes every race a little more intense than your average mobile racer. It's a 3 GB free mobile game, PvP online, available now on Android. Townsmen is one of those games that sort of instantly hits longtime mobile players with just a rush of nostalgia. Back when city building games were all about building a thriving kingdom instead of waiting endless timers and stuff, Townsman was in fact one of the best. It's now back as a fully premium release with upgraded graphics, better controls, no free-to-play nonsense, and the fact that it's already past 1.5 million wishlists just says a lot. I would say if you've been craving an old-school medieval city building game like Caesar, this comeback is definitely at least worth a try. Rust is now officially launched in China. And you're not going to be needing a Chinese phone number or whatever. Unlike previous tests, anyone in those regions can just jump in without needing an invite. Just go ahead, look up Rust Mobile APK on Google search and choose the first link you see. That's it. The game Rust actually sits pretty close to the PC version. Like you wake up with nothing, gather resources, build a base, craft weapons, trying to survive against others. Alternatively, you can actually also connect to a compatible VPN, use a Hong Kong server, download the game directly from the Play Store and just play it with the translator app. That also works as well. Don't Starve Together has finally made the jump to mobile today, and this is just one of the biggest survival releases we've had in a while, in a minute. If you're wondering whether you should go for it, the mobile version does in fact keep the full co-op experience, adds controller support, cloud saves, and a redesigned touch interface as well to make it work, which does actually work pretty good. Suffice it to say, if you've somehow never played this classic, you've got all the reason to do so if you wanted to. It is now live on the Google and the Apple Store for $8.99, including a 10% discount as well. It's a solid 9 out of 10. With that being said, Bardo is one of those roguelikes that actually turns organizing a backpack into the main event of the game. And it works. Where every climb up the mountain is different, forcing you to carefully manage your gear while dealing with hunger, exhaustion, and even your character slowly losing their mind. It's just less about combat or anything like that, more about making smart decisions with whatever you've managed to cram in your backpack. If you're after some slower, more tactical, very different strategy deck building game, Bardo is an easy recommendation for $5.
Let me introduce you to Ni no Kuni Crossworld.
Ni no Kuni Crossworlds is making a pretty massive comeback with this new One Universe, One Journey updates. That's basically why it's in the list today, it's an old game. Netmarble's merge plays into a new global unified server, removed the old NFT related systems, basically gave the whole game a fresh start. Even better, they're handing out level boosts that can get you all the way to level 200 much faster, plus tons of free progression rewards, gears, and familiars for both new and returning players as well. If you've, say, bounced off the game before, now is probably the best time to just jump back in. It's an online game about 8 GB in total. This is one of the good ones. Wish Upon a Cat it's just a game you'd expect if you played Bear's Restaurant or Meg's Monster that came out just a couple of weeks ago. Like, it isn't an adventure game in nature, yet it packs a surprisingly emotional story into just a few hours of gameplay, mixing humor, regret, genuinely touching moments as you chase this mischievous cat across different realities. The pixel art's great, the developer's humor makes it feel like a whole level different kinds of uniqueness. If you're looking for a story bit, very chill sim with a lot of charm to it, this one's absolutely worth checking out. On another hand, Hololive Dreams is pretty much a love letter to Hololive fans. I don't know if any of you even remember it. It's a rhythm game, but there's way more going on than just tapping notes here. Along the music, there's RPG progression, collecting, even a handful of surprisingly fun minigames like cooking, jump roads, some Fall Guys style challenges. The gacha is fairly generous early on with plenty of free pulls and it's fair. And yeah, it's a free game. The story doesn't blow anyone's mind, but if you're already a Hololive fan, this is absolutely an easy recommendation. Sultan's game is finally here on Android and iOS, after actually becoming one of 2025's biggest strategy RPGs on PCs. And if you missed it, well, first of all, this isn't the old typical kingdom builder. It's about making impossible choices, managing a lot of resource, trying to survive this Sultan's card game where every decision can just completely change the story as you go. Like a single move can cost you pretty much everything. Look, if you're into deep narratives where your choices actually really matter, good at strategy and a good RPG, it's actually one of the most interesting mobile releases of 2026. It's got a free demo, full game is about $10. Runeborn is another one that actually caught us a bit off guard. Like at first glance it looks like your typical deck builder, but it also then throws this slot machine mechanics into the mix and it actually works pretty well. It's got that just one more run energy that best roguelikes always have, and despite being only around 200 megabytes in total, there's a surprising amount of depth packed in there as well. Not a free game, it takes you $4.99, it doesn't support a controller, it plays offline. If you're into games like Balatro, give it a shot. Going next, we've got this thing called Bottle Thrower. One of those comedies we get once in a while that sort of know what they want to be. It's a sort of a goofy little physics fighting game, sort of like Tabs mixed with some arena fighter, where everyone just basically run around pelting each other with bottles, and it's actually way more fun than it is any right to be. The matches are pretty quick, controls are very easy to pick up, landing a good throw is very satisfying. Definitely not something you'd grind for weeks, but if you just want a few laughs and a game, you can just jump in for 5 minutes and forget about it all day. This one gets the job done very well. Number 18 with 144p Records. It's an online first-person shooter focused on a really neat gunplay, lots of detailed weapon sounds and weapon details in general, some slower, more strategy tactical firefights instead of just run and gun. Now, 144p Record here is in the list today for the second time for just one reason. It's the developers released an update that fixed bugs, adjusted HUD, the online matches, the service is now right up there with an actual Call of Duty in feel. Graphics are legit for just 300 megabytes in total. It's a free game, it's a tactical shooter beyond the usual big names that definitely worth at least a try if you're looking for a good shooter. Number 19, we've got Crossgate Adventure. Finally here, after a long wait, bringing one of Square Enix's classic MMOs into mobile, and it sticks pretty closely to the original game with old school turn-based combat, pixel art, huge collection of pets to train and fuse, plus a story-driven economy that gives the world a proper MMO feel as well. This one's definitely aimed at fans of classic JRPGs rather than flashy modern MMOs, basically what makes it stand out really here. Suffice it to say, if you've been craving a slower, more nostalgic MMO, that's an easy recommendation. Rumble Runners at number 20 takes the idea of racing, turns it into just absolute mayhem. Like instead of simply running as fast as possible here, you're building a team of runners, unlocking special abilities, time and skills. You can flip a race in just a second. I mean, most racing games do that, of course, except every character you beat can eventually join your squad. So you're constantly experimenting with different combinations, and it almost feels like an auto battle mixed with a sports RPG. Definitely a strange concept, but that's also what makes it stand out. Give it a shot. Alright, so here's the thing. Pixel-gun 3D has been around for years. Somehow it still manages to stay relevant. Before you skip this one, this is basically the definition of content overload. Hundreds of weapons, tons of mode, tons of game modes, battle royals, zombie survival, raids, clan wars, and just enough maps to keep things very interesting from start to end. The visuals might look simple, but the gameplay is surprisingly packed with a lot of personality. Whether you're coming back after being years away or trying it for the first time here, there's always a ridiculous amount of challenge that you can accomplish in this game.
Round 1.
Number 22, we've got Fight Club Meme Combat. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a pretty goofy fighting game, doesn't take itself seriously for a second, and it throws internet-inspired meme characters into one-on-ones with special moves, their own special moves, and a bunch of over-the-top action. There is online PvP if you want to test yourself against other players. There's 100-level career mode, plus AI battles, of course, for practice. If you're looking for a silly arcade fighting game to mess around with for just a while, this one's actually good. Up at number 23, we've got a puzzle adventure hit called Beyond Star Descendant. It's old school hidden object adventures. In fact, this one goes a little bigger than the usual, where you're traveling across different alien worlds, doing puzzles, looking up a family secret, eventually piecing together an emotional sci-fi story. You can try this game's opening for free before deciding if you want the full premium game. It's available now on Android only. It's offline as well.
I found a game controlled by some strange magic.
Automatica at number 24 is basically what happens when you mix a roguelike with a tactical board game. Developers in fact describe it as chess with demons, and that's not even far off actually. Every battle revolves around smart little positioning on a little 3x3 grid. From there, then unique placement, relic synergies, tile effects and combos all matter. It's one of those games that's easy to understand, but gets surprisingly deep once you start experimenting with different builds. Number 25, we've got Automatica. And Automatica in fact takes the auto battle formula and gives it a proper roguelike twist. Like every run's about recruiting newer units, finding synergies, positioning your army well enough to survive increasingly tougher battles as you go. There's plenty of room to experiment with different builds and enhancements as well, so no two runs are ever gonna play out the same. If you want a strategy game that rewards smart planning more than reflexes, well, this one's definitely worth a look. And finally, last but not least, Hypnospace Outlaw is probably the strangest game on the list today, and I actually mean that as a compliment. And instead of saving kingdoms or shooting zombies or managing an empire, well, you're basically dropped into a fake version of the late 90s internet, digging through these hilariously awful websites, getting completely distracted by all the weird stuff people have uploaded there. It somehow captures the magic, the cringe, and the randomness of the early web better than almost anything I've ever seen. Very clever game, genuinely funny, quite entertaining as well. It's got a free demo. If it clicks for you, get the whole thing. There's really nothing else quite like it. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know which one's your favorite, and I'll see you again tomorrow.